I love your home already, and I haven't even seen it. Does that sound crazy? It's not. When we improve our surroundings, we simultaneously empower ourselves, which means every inch of space within your reach right now is an opportunity to tell the story you want to be living. Tell me that's not its own kind of wonderful. I have spent the last 15 years consulting clients and their homes through the wisdom of feng shui, intentional design, and some crystal clear communication. And you know what happens when you bring those three together? Life-changing magic. Your home is already in a conversation with you, so why not learn how to merge that awareness with some simple, straightforward, and smart action to co-create the life you want? I'm Amanda Gibby Peters, and I am here to help you learn how. Welcome to House Therapy. So are you ready for today's episode? We're taking your calls, and when I say calls, I mean questions. And per our usual, we've got a feast of conversation ahead in today's episode. So if you're wanting to get your cue on the table, all you got to do is send it to Amanda@simpleshui.com. That is Amanda@simpleshui.com with podcast Q in the subject line. And if it's one that I can answer here well, it'll be added to the list. And on that note, let's start noshing on A's for your Q's. All right, question one. If one has two houses where they split their time equally, how does Shui work in terms of influence and dialogue? So this is a great question because this actually applies to any space that is considered ours. So your office away from home, the storage unit you have, or in this case, the second home. Whatever is yours affects your energy. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Years and years and years ago, probably 5 years into my consulting practice, I had a client with a beautiful home in California. And there were several issues that they hired me for. One was work related. The others were relationship specific. So there were a couple big wins I identified immediately that, in my experience at that point, should have packed a little more punch. And once they were implemented, they did create some palpable result, but it was like the energy from the win was almost immediately siphoned. So we kept tweaking and working into the weeds of the shui. And when our consult wrapped, I knew we'd made okay progress, but it wasn't quite what I had expected. And right as we were wrapping our final call, like we were in the final 15 minutes zone, the client mentioned that they were going to take a lot of what they'd learned in this time with me to their other home. It was, in their words, filled to the gills with clutter. And just like that, everything made sense. Now, they hadn't mentioned this house, and I hadn't thought to ask about having a second home. So as you can imagine, that question now comes up in every new client consult intake. The point of the story is this. Whatever is yours, wherever it's located, is tied up to your energy. So if you have two homes, my suggestion is work your shui the same. Now, the other way to look at this, instead of, oh my gosh, it's more work, is here are two spaces that can deliberately be programmed to help enhance, support, co-create, optimize the opportunities and experiences I or we are seeking. Okay, question number 2. I have a 2-story home. Downstairs in the love relationship is an extra bedroom that my grandson stays in when he's here. Everything in the room belongs to my grandson. Most of the time, it is vacant. I keep it clean. My husband passed 2 years ago. Could my grandson's vacant room affect my ability to meet someone else? So this is another really fabulous question, and there are a couple things I want to address here. One, when we have someone or something in a room that we feel is affecting its potential, and I say that like let's speak specifically to the bagua. Okay, so when we have someone or something in the room that doesn't feel like it aligns with the life area that is on the feng shui map. The other thing I want to address is vacancy chi. Okay, so first up, I'm going to encourage you to focus less on that part of the home in terms of meeting someone else and pour that attention and energy into your bedroom. Make sure this space reflects partnership in the decor choices and preferences. And as a reminder, common culprits with relationship woes are single imagery, like photos of one person or something that's denoting a single item. That's one thing that I notice just repeats itself without abandon in spaces and places where people are trying to partner up. And again, partnership can be romantic, but it can also be social and platonic and business and collaborative, right? So be mindful that you don't have too much solo imagery in your space and certainly in your room. Another thing to pay attention to is unequal space. What do I mean? When someone moves into a space, let's say, and they're not provided equal footing, it implies that the other person is more at home. So just be mindful that you've left a little bit of space for someone new to come into your life, whether they were going to move in or not. And then also be mindful of anything that interferes or disrupts the idea of sensuality and romance. Meaning, if you have a lot of work or workout equipment or things that suggest you've got your hands kind of full, you're kind of busy doing other things, see if you can't find them another location. Treat your bedroom as if you are in a new relationship. Get into those details and you'll really be off to an excellent start. Also, if there's an opportunity to indulge the love area of your bedroom, that's another way we can make the most of working with the feng shui map. As a reminder, you can apply the feng shui map or bagua to the house, but you can also apply it to any room, to any space, even to the mattress or your desk. So hear me and hear me well, all. You are not limited to one reading of the bagua. It is versatile and plenty happy to accommodate you with more options. And if the love area downstairs is quote unquote spoken for and you can't do much with the love area of your bedroom, then consider the living room your motherboard. Work your bagua over it and apply any and all remedies, adjustment changes here with confidence, because I do this all the time in clients' homes. So for anyone who's asking where the love area is, again, standing at the entrance to the space that you're applying that map to, so whether that's your house or a room or even your mattress, stand at the entrance and then imagine that tic-tac-toe board over the space. Your far back right-hand corner is going to be your love area. All right, finally, find a way to engage the vacant room. So a guest room in the love area doesn't concern me at all. It's more the lack of energy and attention that's getting my attention. So could you put some lights on timers? Could you find a reason to stitch a purpose for being in that room or working it into your daily or weekly routine? Could you turn on some music down there? Place a bird feeder or wind chime outside the window. Like basically the name of the game here for you is create a little chi revival to the room so it can deliver you a lot of romance chi. All right, question 3. Is it beneficial to sage, salt, cleanse my space before I begin organizing or mid-organization to move stale energy and keep up my motivation? Or is it best to wait until I finish or do both/combo? All right, so the quick answer here is there's no right answer. Don't you love that? But here's what I will suggest. If you can muster one good cleanse, like that's all you got in you, do it after you've cleaned and organized the space. And here's why. So much of the time, we get inspired to clear clutter, clean the space, get it organized, and then we call it a day. But we've done nothing to acknowledge the energetic residue that's left behind. So moving forward, anytime you've really pushed up your sleeves, cleaned, cleared, you're going to want to sage, spritz, or salt the space down to remove any lingering energy that is still there. Otherwise, it's going to hold the pattern of clutter in place. And that is one of the reasons I think the reaccumulation happens so easily, almost stealthily. Anytime you clear a space, whether it is a physical cleaning or energetic cleansing, you want to be mindful and deliberate with what you're replacing that fresh energy with, right? You're like, you've moved stuff, you've got this fresh energy, you want to add something in there. So don't come up short on this one final step moving forward, okay? Now, if you're like, well, I love clearing energy and I don't care if you tell me to do it 100 times, here's what I'm going to recommend. Do a loosening up round first, as in, let's break up that stagnant chi, that clutter and boxes and dust and stuff just tends to cement into. Now, you could use a smoke wand for this, but don't overlook super simple strategies like shaking a rattle or leaving a bowl of salt out for up to 24 hours and then dumping it, or spritzing something super clarifying like peppermint or rosemary, lemon, or even cypress. And then when you're done with that clearing and cleansing and purging and organizing, do a final cleanse to mop up and again remove any of the patterns that settled in with the accumulation of stuff in the first place. And for this, I would do a smoke cleanse. I love Palo Santo for this. You might also, though, ring a bell that has a high note, as in you're clearing the air and leaving things on a really high note. If both of those things are out of reach, then consider wiping everything within reason down with a little salty water. Okay, so here's our final cue for today. Hi, Amanda. I love your podcast, and I'm looking forward to doing your course later this year. Yay, thank you. One question in the meantime. Our house is on a corner lot, and I'm feeling the urge to put a fence around our front yard. Any thoughts from a feng shui perspective on fence versus no fence on a corner lot? P.S. Our house sits at an angle on the lot, so the front door faces the corner, but not directly into the corner. So this is one of those questions that's tricky to answer because so much depends on, well, one, what it actually looks like, but two, and what I'm going to address here, the environmental influences around the house. So I'm going to keep my answer super generic, knowing that some of this could change after I got eyes on the site. But what I can tell you to consider is this. When it comes to outside shui, the first thing we look at is this. Is the energy around your property nourishing and nurturing, or is it feeling more disruptive or deficient? So a couple things that I might look for are there roads running by the corner? And if there are, what is the traffic, like the amount, the speed, the time of day situation? When we live near a busy-ish or busy, trafficked or highly trafficked road, it can feel like things in our lives are coming and going all the time. And over time, this can have an exhaustive effect. So in this situation, a fence would be a great idea because it would serve as a barrier and protector. It would sort of corral the chi that's in your space and create sort of a bouncer effect for that energy that's rushing by. However, what if you're in the thick of the woods? Maybe there's nothing busy around you but the green growth of all the land. If this is you, I don't know that a fence is necessary, only because you have so much chi already around you, adding in or creating an additional barrier that a fence might make it feel harder for opportunities to reach you. And if you're living on the corner lot of a mildly active during the day but quiet by night neighborhood, the fence will really come down to this. Does it feel protective to you? Does it create a sense of healthy separation between you and whatever is on the other side of your property line? Do you feel like you need to establish more clear boundaries? If so, a fence could be the perfect addition. And if a fence isn't within reach for some of you listening, but you want the same wins of an established perimeter, then consider incorporating greenery or hedges around the yard. And this can be done with actually planting garden beds, but it can also be done with planters. And if you don't have much yard, plants and shrubbery are excellent allies around the windows too. So even a window box with brightly colored flowers or some sort of green, can become a line of defense, blocking the energy that is maybe seeping into your space from that busy distraction outside of your space, if that makes sense. Now, remember, you don't necessarily want the growth right up against the house or blocking the windows, but you can use this to create a perimeter of protection and feel that healthy insulation. All right, I hope those answers satiated your curiosities. And listen, if you want to learn more Shui, like really learn how to work with this, be sure to check out my online course, Become Your Own Feng Shui Consultant. Not only do you get everything that comes with the course, which is 6 modules, a huge resource library, several Q&A sessions in there, but you get to spend an hour-ish with me once a month live on a Q&A call, learning even more Shui than you could ever hope for. So grab the link in my show notes, somersault over to my site at simpleshui.com, and you can learn more about the course. And on that note, I hope you have a gorgeous week, Shui Smarties, and please keep your Shui curiosities and cues coming my way. And that's our episode, my loves. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to head over to simpleshui.com if you're craving a bigger serving of house love. And if you like what you're hearing, I hope you follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love what you're learning, will you leave me a review? Your note will totally make my day and help even more people find the show. Have a fabulous day, and I can't wait to meet you back here next week.